Dallas-Fort Worth is the fourth largest metroplex in the entire United States and on track to overtake Chicago by 2030. Unlike New York or San Francisco, Fort Worth isn't waterlocked or landlocked. It has plenty of room to keep growing. With corporate relocations flooding in, heavy infrastructure spending, and the SEC-approved Texas Stock Exchange launching trades this July, Fort Worth is set to be a powerhouse for decades. Most people think of our area as Dallas, although since 2000, Fort Worth's growth has outpaced every other major city in the United States, last year officially pushing past the 1 billion residents milestone. But what is it actually like to live here day to day? Let me give you my unfiltered take on what I love, what drives me crazy, and who I think this city is really for. If you're thinking about moving to the Fort Worth area, this updated look will give you a real sense of what to expect. Don't get me wrong, Fort Worth is great, but it has a few things that some folks just don't like. People don't stay in Fort Worth for just one reason. It's the total package. Huge job opportunities, a diverse economy, and housing that's actually affordable if you don't mind a commute. Honestly, that combo is hard to find anywhere else in the country. First off, Fort Worth is probably the most convenient location in the entire United States for travel thanks to its proximity to the airport. The Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport is the third largest airport in the world, serving over 87 million passengers every year. You've got nonstop flights to 260 destinations, including 193 domestic cities and 67 international cities. Most major cities in the continental U.S. can be reached within about 4 hours from Fort Worth. If traveling is your hobby or you've got family scattered across the country, or if you're running a business, Fort Worth is the easiest place to travel from. On top of that, it makes it a lot easier for time zone adjustments because you go either 2 hours back or 1 hour forward. It's not that big a deal. But here's where it gets really interesting. The business environment here is unlike anything else. As a lifelong resident, I've seen the difference compared to other large metropolitan areas. First of all, Texas has no corporate income tax and no individual state income tax. That makes a massive difference when you're trying to build wealth or grow your business in the beginning. Wait until you see the investment numbers I'm going to show you later. The amount of money pouring into the infrastructure is going to blow your mind. Before we get into the numbers, Fort Worth has quietly become a headquarters magnet, especially in the Alliance and North Tarrant areas. Over the past decade, Texas has added hundreds of corporate headquarters. The Dallas-Fort Worth metro area ranked as the #1 metro in the U.S. for corporate headquarter relocations since 2018 to right now. This is really shocking. DFW brought more relocations than Austin, Nashville, Houston, and even Phoenix. For more than 60 years, Fort Worth has had major corporations like American Airlines, Lockheed Martin, BNSF Railway. The opportunities across many different sectors are everywhere. If you're a business owner like myself, you're not getting overregulated or overtaxed. You get to keep more of your hard-earned money and you actually invest that money right here. Let me say that again. If you own a business, Texas wants you to keep more of what you earn because we know you'll invest it to grow your business, which grows the economy. We see it all the time. Texas is extremely landlord friendly. If you talk to anybody who invests in real estate, they'll tell you to avoid certain states, but Texas is never on that list to avoid. It's at the top of the list of places to invest. The DFW Metroplex just recently ranked again as the #1 real estate market. This applies whether you're investing in single family, multifamily, or even apartment complexes. They just reduced some of those regulations and red tape on getting them built, renovating, or restoring and investing in them. Texas is encouraging multifamily investment even more, whereas other states are basically trying to get you out of it. You know, taking a step back, some people stereotype Fort Worth as a horse riding community or oil tycoons of Dallas. with a little suburban sprawl mixed in. There is some of that, but when you find pockets like the 7th Street Cultural District with the world famous Kimball Art Museum or the historic stockyards near downtown Fort Worth, you understand the character and charm of the city. Once you find these spots, you'll also discover Fort Worth has some amazing food, restaurants, bars, boutiques, nightlife. Fort Worth also gets recognized in the prestigious Michelin Guide across the Metroplex. If you like parks and the outdoors, Fort Worth has over 270 parks and 100 miles of trail systems along the Trinity River. We've got really good elevation changes, especially around the lakes, which makes for great biking. I don't love biking, but if you do, there's tons of places to go. But going along the Trinity River seems nice. Even though we don't have mountains or the beach, which I'll cover in a minute, you can still get outside and enjoy excellent outdoor activities for 3 to 4 months out of the year. If you like Renaissance Fairs, Scarborough Fair is just a few miles southeast near Waxahachie. Here's what most people don't realize. The amount of investment and development happening in Fort Worth is unlike any other city. Fort Worth recently passed a record-breaking $5.2 billion budget for the Metroplex through 2026 that includes over $2.2 billion for infrastructure alone. Fort Worth has the iconic Trinity River Vision Project, including Panther Island, an 800-acre urban waterfront district just outside downtown Fort Worth. Major civil engineering is moving forward fast with that. The Tarrant Regional Water District funding phase 1, and this is the internal canal system and launching infrastructure construction within a couple of months in 2026. You have DFW Airport investing over $9 billion in their massive capital program, adding a whole new terminal that will expand to 31 gates. That's a $4 billion project on its own. There's just no other city I feel is going to come to this level of reinvestment. And it's absolutely blown up. That's what I get excited about. I can really see the future here. The combination of travel, convenience, infrastructure, investment, it creates something truly unique for anyone building wealth or growing a business. That kind of trifecta is increasingly rare in America. When you understand who thrives here, which I'll break down in a minute, you'll see exactly why this matters for your specific situation. Before we get into that, what I don't love about Fort Worth, if you're seriously considering making a move here and want to have a real conversation about your specific situation, feel free to reach out. I've helped thousands of families relocate here, move across the Metroplex. You can shoot me a text, give me a call, or send me an email. All that information is on the description below or on the screen. My business partner, Mindy and I, and our team would love to help you make your next move to the Fort Worth area. When you call my number, you actually get me. It's not a bot. It's not a foreign overseas answering service. So you get me when you call. But let me just be genuine with you as well. There's 3 things about Fort Worth that really frustrate me after living here for almost 50 years. You need to know about these before you make that move. First, let's talk about the traffic. I actually think Fort Worth traffic is better than Dallas. I've heard from friends who lived in larger metro areas that it's way better than Austin or Houston. Fort Worth pretty much stays moving during rush hour because we've got an extensive highway system. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. The average weekday congestion time in Fort Worth is about 4.5 hours. That's a 27% increase over recent periods and over an hour longer than the national average. We'll edit that part out. In some parts of the city, the roads haven't kept up with growth. If you look at I-35 through downtown, Loop 820, or I-30 during rush hour, the congestion can be pretty bad. I know they're working on it and those projects are moving along, and hopefully we'll see more expansion in the next couple of years, which would make a big difference. The second thing is a big one to me personally. There's no mountains. There's no beach as far as the ocean. Like Fort Worth is simply landlocked. We're considered the prairie region of Texas. If you're coming from the West or East Coast, that's something you're going to miss. We've helped tons of people move here from California and the East Coast. I mean, all over really, but a lot of people from California and the East Coast, and they don't have a problem with it. Actually, they feel those pros really outweigh the cons. Sometimes I'd rather live somewhere where I could see mountains and ocean on a daily basis, but to be honest, I just love Fort Worth. I've lived here all my life. What you're looking at is escaping everything else when you move here. Overregulated business environments, high taxes, and certain school curriculums that you may just not agree with. Everything I just told you gets turned on its head when we look at how Fort Worth could actually fix these problems. And I'm going to get there in just a minute. The third thing is the sprawl. Fort Worth is completely spread out. There's no really walkable areas like you find in New York, Chicago, or even New Orleans. The public transit system is it's almost non-existent. Even though they just opened the new Silver Line commuter rail across the northern part of the Metroplex, again, how many people actually use it day to day, and you still have to walk forever to get there if you're not living like right by it. I don't know. But what I actually love about a city like New Orleans is that you could actually start walking in the Bywater, walk through Marigny Triangle, go through Esplanade Avenue into the French Quarter, and then into Uptown. You basically just walk from one cool neighborhood to the next. Fort Worth is just pockets of cool neighborhoods. You could go to one little neighborhood and spend half a day there, but then you don't want to walk to the next one because it's 15, 20 miles. Unless you're downtown and wanted to walk to the cultural district. It's close enough to where I'm sure some people do that. It's still a ton of walking, but when you get up to the north suburbs like Keller, Southlake, Flower Mound, the cool little pockets are pretty spread out. Of course, then there's the summer heat. Fort Worth is North Texas. Our summers run from May to September, sometimes December. July and August are pretty hot. We set a record a few years ago for the most 100 days in a calendar year, which I'm not proud of. Whenever you get in your car and it's like 115 on the dashboard, you don't really want to go outside until the sun goes down, or even at all sometimes in the summer, because it just doesn't cool off at night in the summer. The past year actually was fairly mild. We only had a few days of 100 degrees, but other years it's just unbearable. So we're not getting hit with crazy, insane cold blast and snow. It's not like the Northeast. So my favorite time of year is the fall. I've had many Christmas pictures in a t-shirt and shorts with the sun in our eyes, and it's actually sunny and 70 degrees on Christmas. Once every 5 years it'll snow. It's just a big gamble. So January and February typically the coldest, but January is back and forth. It'll be 70 one day and 30 the next, or 30 one morning and 70 by the afternoon. Once you get into spring or fall, it's a bit more consistent. Even, every area has its weather issues except California. Apparently they have perfect weather all the time, but you have to deal with all the other stuff in California. Well, what's the other stuff? I'll let you figure that out. The growth in Fort Worth is also kind of uneven. A ton of people want to live on the north side, especially near Alliance and Keller. This is where all the massive developments are happening. You've seen tons of growth in Hazlitt, Roanoke, North Tarrant, and it's starting to move west as well, and even further north. That also means some areas are getting overlooked. If you look at the east, southeast, and south sides of Fort Worth, the development just hasn't been there. They're doing a few projects here and there, but it's not what they're doing on the North Fort Worth side. These challenges are real, and you need to know about them. People are always asking, how come you don't talk about South Fort Worth? There's not much going on. I live in the North Fort Worth area near Trophy Club, and I want to work close to home. We do help people on the South Fort Worth area and the west side, close to Weatherford. It just depends on where you want to be. If you're willing to trade mountains and beaches for better economic opportunity, lower taxes, and fewer regulations, this is the type of person who would do very well here. Fort Worth is an incredible place to raise a family. School districts are really good, especially in the north and western suburbs, and some spots south and east Fort Worth, especially in the areas that are growing. The school districts are highly rated schools. They're building, just phenomenal campuses, better than some of the college campuses I've seen. These are also good private school options, Christian school options, homeschool options. The homeschool community has its own strong network here. If you're a social person and love to get involved in your neighborhood, Fort Worth is great for that too. The culture of the community is very tight. Neighborhood block parties, holiday parades, and most people stay involved with their local churches. If you're a young professional, Fort Worth is good for you too. We have cybersecurity, tech software, healthcare, construction. No matter what type of job you're looking for, it's here. If you wanted to start a business, that opportunity is here. Fort Worth's metro is projected to grow over 9% annually through 2030. If you're young and looking for crazy nightlife, Fort Worth isn't really known for that, but it does have downtown and the cultural district. However, if you're the type of person who waves at neighbors while walking the dog and flashes a hand and, like you're on a country road, you're going to fit in nicely. You have that Texas hospitality here. What if I told you Fort Worth is already working on fixing its biggest problems? Here's what needs to happen. First, as I mentioned, it's traffic. Fort Worth is very car dependent and public transit is minimal. Even though they're working on it with TexRail and the Silver Line, it's still far from perfect. While there's a rail line connecting the airport to downtown, many developments are still made for people with cars. People drive home, they stay home, and don't always have a neighborhood center they can walk to. There's few exceptions like Alliance, which is a massive mixed-use development with commercial, retail, residential, all in one. They're doing something similar with development pushing north and west. It's crazy to see how those developments are expanding, but the roads need to be fixed. They're working on that though. A few inner cities still need to be rethought. They usually get backed up during rush hour and highways are the main issue. The west side of Fort Worth is going to need some help on that. Fort Worth needs more parks and green spaces. They have a lot now, but they're doing a great job with the Trinity River and the Panther Island project. It just needs to expand. That's going to be a game changer. Our river is the most underutilized asset in the city. And finally, they're doing something good with it. I think Fort Worth needs to focus on developing underserved areas like East, Southeast, and the South Sides. There's a ton of potential there, but it's going to require investment in businesses, schools, and parks. The bottom line is that Fort Worth is addressing these challenges head on with billions of dollars in infrastructure spending. Bottom line is that Fort Worth is addressing these challenges head on with Fort Worth is about to become one of the 3 biggest metros in America. And it's happening faster than anyone expected. You've got River Central, a $2 billion mixed-use development, over 140 acres in Fort Worth. Grand Prairie, this is the Grand Prairie area near DFW, it's just on the south side. The Texas Research Quarter being developed nearby, a new $4 billion hub for life sciences that will bring research companies, medical facilities, and high-paying jobs. Fort Worth is positioning itself to be one of the biggest metros in the country. I said it earlier, Fort Worth is already the 4th largest city in the US, and it's on pace to beat out Chicago by 2030. The big advantage, we aren't waterlocked. These limitless areas that give us room to grow, combine that with constant corporate moves, huge infrastructure spending, and the Texas Stock Exchange launching this year is why I'm bullish on Fort Worth. This is why I'm still here after all these years, and I can see what's coming firsthand. That trajectory matters for anyone thinking long-term, investors, business owners, and families planning to stay. This growth directly translates to opportunity, appreciation in your home. That brings us full circle to why I've stayed here. All this time is a long time to stay anywhere when you can live wherever you want. By the way, I'm 49, but Fort Worth keeps proving it was the right call. Whether you're trying to stretch your budget, cut out the commute, or find the best place that feels like home, I'll tell you exactly where I'd move right now if I were you. All our contact information is on the screen. By the way, when you call or text that number, you get me, not a robot, not an offshore answering service, me. My team and I would love to help you find your next home. Thank you for watching.